a minute what you think the answer is to this statement, okay? So, first statement, Gen Y is the generation of buy now and pay later. So just turn to a partner and see if you can come up with what you think the answer is. They're straight with numbers.
I'm Chris. Nice to meet you. Oh,
nice to meet you.
Oh, good. You are with
Wireless Technologies.
Oh, okay.
Are you with NJIT?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That was one of my choices for college.
Oh, yes. Well, I was thinking about that and Rutgers. And actually, now I'm closer to Rutgers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I am. Because, well, they are so close between each other.
Yeah, my cousin went to Rutgers for Masters in Computer Science. He works over here. So what do you do with NJIT?
Okay, so
well, I'm a teacher.
Can I see how many people think that
working with a graduate
is
department.
true?
Oh.
Okay, good. How many people think that's false? Everybody who's left over. Okay. Well, you're right. That is false. That is actually the baby boomers. The baby boomers, who their generation tends to have the value of buy now, pay later. Next statement. Gen X is the generation of, if you want to reach me, call me at work, but don't call me at home. So again, discuss with your partners, or you can find somebody else to talk to if you didn't like your partner.
I'm okay with calling me at home.
Yeah.
Gen X is generation you want to reach me.
For now, I'm not going to, but I will. Yeah.
I think it's true.
Okay. So
Because Gen X is supposed to be very self-centered.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like very much I'm the center of everything, right? Gen Y is, well, I don't know.
I think it's, well, I think it's false. I think that they want you to work with their schedule.
He asked a question. He said, "Who is Gen
False,
X?"
right?
False.
Did you have a question?
Gen Y or...
Yeah. Okay. Great. Fabulous. That's part of why I'm doing this. So I will get there. There is a method to my madness.
All right.
So, how many of you don't know who Gen X is? Let's start with that. Great. Okay. Good. How many of you think that statement is true? Those of you who don't know Gen X, right? How many of you think that statement is false? Okay, so more people think it's false than true. It's actually true.
0 for 2.
Yeah. So, and again, we'll get into defining each of these generations, but baby boomers had more of a value, or have more of a value. We're all still alive, but baby boomers have more of a value of, you can reach me anytime. Gen Xers, much more clearly delineated in terms of work-life balance. And if you want to reach me, you call me at work. Don't bother me at home. Okay, next statement. Baby boomers are the generation most likely to question authority. So again, discuss true or false. Or you don't know who the baby boomers are, but that's fine.
Yeah,
Discuss
because,
who you think the baby boomers might be.
Well, actually not really, because baby boomers are the generation that came after World War II, right? Maybe 1960s.
Who were working in 60s and 70s.
Right, and that's not it, right? They actually defy authority more than anything, right?
Do they question authority?
60s, 70s.
60s and 70s.
Yeah, right.
Or yeah, 60s, 70s.
Yeah, I think that's false. I mean, that's my impression, right? But I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Again, let's see show of hands. How many of you don't know who baby boomers are? Okay. So a couple of people, but they're a little more well known. You've heard that term, most of you, a little bit. Okay. So, is this statement true or false? How many people think it's true? How many of you think it's false? Okay, great. So more people think false than true. It's actually true. And to Rick's point, he said back in the 60s it was true. Absolutely right. So baby boomers came of age in a time that was about protesting the Vietnam War, civil rights movement, women's liberation. There is a strong value in many baby boomers to question authority, to stand up to authority. So absolutely right. Okay, good. The war generation tends to be motivated when managers connect their actions to the overall good of the organization. True or false? Discuss
What's war generation?
I don't know. That might be the Second War, right? The Second World War. I think that's what it is. But
That's my father. That's why I'm going.
Connect their actions to the overall good. I think that would be true.
I think
yeah.
From the military perspective, because they have more discipline.
Probably, yeah. Probably. Makes me think about the motivations, right? Different motivations, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
They actually want to see the plan, right?
Happens war generation. Okay, good, excellent. So, true or false? How many of you think the statement is true? Okay, excellent. How many of you think false? Okay, good. The trues win, and in fact, that is true. So, the war generation, who I will talk about in just a minute, were raised at a time that was about community and about family. And so connecting their actions to the good of the organization is a huge motivator for them. It's less about them as the individual and more about the community at large. Okay, but we'll talk about that more in a minute. So, I've already asked this question. I've already got my answer. I'm going to give you a very brief history of diversity. And the reason that I do this is to give you some context in terms of why are we looking now at innovation. So we'll send these slides out if you want to learn more about the history of diversity. I'm just going to quickly run through this. But 1870s, female clerks accounted for 2.5% of the workforce. By 1930, this raises to 53%. And then, of course, we know that during the war, World War II, because so many men went off to war, women entered the workforce in huge numbers and took over the jobs that the men had to leave behind. But during the same span, minorities are segregated to work in the service industry in terms of servants, porters, and manual labor. But it's that movement of women into the workforce that actually starts this momentum of diversity. Because a lot of their husbands came back from the war and they went, hang on a minute, I don't really want to just stay at home anymore. And many of them did go back home, but many of them stayed in the workforce. Is anybody in here a fan of Mad Men, the series Mad Men? Yeah, which is captured, I think, quite beautifully. I don't watch it a lot, but every now and again I watch it. I think it's really captured beautifully, that transition. I think it starts in the late 50s, early 60s, but that transition of women and minorities entering the workforce. So between the 40s and the 60s, we have a huge leap in terms of what happens in the workforce, and many acts of legislation are passed to protect different minorities entering the workforce. So we've got the Commission on the Status of Women to improve hiring practices. That was by JFK. The Equal Pay Act in 1963 makes it illegal to pay a woman less than a man. We're still not there. So in the United States, on average, women make 75 cents for every dollar that a man makes. So we're still not quite there. And in California, where I currently live, that is actually, if I remember the last stat I heard, it's 59 cents to every dollar that a man makes.
Is
Yes.
that the same job?
In the same
The
job,
same job.
yes.
In the same
Same
job.
job, and interesting about that in terms of gender, that it becomes even more pronounced in jobs that pay $200,000 or more a year.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So make sure these guys get raffle tickets.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a huge question, huge question. And, you know, it's a great question. A lot of this has to do with unconscious bias, which is a completely different workshop. I'm happy to come back next year and do a workshop on unconscious bias. But frequently, all of us have unconscious biases. And so our mind believes that we are treating someone fairly because we have a bias against that gender, that race, that age, that sexual orientation, but we're not really aware that we have that bias. What do you mean, how come men can get jobs?
Your whole company with women, but you understand something about why did you ever hire women?
Well, again, there's you're all fired. I'm hiring myself 50% of the money. Yeah. It's a great question, and if we were doing a workshop on unconscious bias, that's a question I would pose to you as the audience, because it is a great question.
Okay, I would never hire me.
Or maybe hire a woman and pay her the same as you would a man.
That would be a breakthrough.
Just in a quick answer to the gentleman over there.
Yeah.
In our industry, a lot of the staffing is women, but
Yeah.
the customer peer facing positions are men. So you hire the women, but the men are on the outside periphery of the company.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And
Okay.
it could be 3 women for every guy that you hire, with almost every woman being paid about 30 to 40% less for similar jobs.
So, but there are so many different reasons, and this workshop is not about gender differences, so I want to clarify that. But there are many, it's unconscious bias, it's also historically, women at times they don't stand up for getting equal pay, they don't know they're not getting equal pay, because, in the workplace we don't tend to talk about what we're earning. So we